And what is it? This podcast is
Freedom 350.
Neither black or white.
Yeah. It's a problem for all Americans. Freedom 350. Because there's 3 arms in the room. You go by 50, but unfortunately this show is disproportionately white because you are a mixed individual.
Yeah.
So here's to the white people. Majority vote in the room.
Well, even I've been told my black half is really a coon half.
So is the black half of you the lower half or like the left or the right side? Like where is this half at?
Well, below the belt, I'm definitely black.
I'm gonna say bullshit. Whip it out, dude.
Oh no, I'm not gonna do that. But yeah. So
Freedom 350. That's like the soundbite right there. You just play with the logo, bam, in your face. Se escuchando rumba 100.3 como salsa y reggaeton.
I guess we're just gonna. This first episode will be about what? The Kanye West and Trump meeting that happened at the White House.
Racial relations, I guess.
Yeah. My chihuahua is barking.
Chihuahua. Because chihuahuas have stuff to say about mixed relations.
Yeah. Weren't they bred to like...
I don't know what they were bred for, man. My mom's got a chihuahua, and I swear the chihuahua breed weirds me out. Why would you want a dog that's small enough to bite your ankles?
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to just assume or...
They just assume my gender.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, we went out to lunch with my mom when I was down in Florida, and it was her birthday. But
hold on. Lisa, shut up! Okay.
So I went out to lunch with my mom for her birthday, and the waitress, because like my mom gets my humor, my sister gets my humor, right? And she said something to the effect of like women can do the same thing as men, and then I basically threw it back in her face as a joke, like, did you just assume my gender? And I raised my voice a little bit to try to like poke fun of the situation, but the whole entire restaurant got quiet and looked over, and the waitress got really nervous, and I went immediately in my head, I immediately regret this decision because I was just trying to like crack jokes, you know?
Yeah.
And then she started like apologizing and like saying she shouldn't have. I'm like, I have a beard, like how?
That doesn't matter anymore.
And then it kills me because like now we're starting to get to a point where comedy is even like dying, and that's a very scary place.
Yeah. Like you no longer have to be like in transition, like trying to look like a girl or a woman. You can just be like, I'm a woman on the inside.
And I don't agree with that.
No.
I don't.
Biologically, we're completely different.
Right. I believe in the binary scale for everything. 1 or 0. You know?
But then if you get into quantum...
Oh, then you can be both.
Yeah.
I mean...
And what's sad is...
with the multiverse theories, it's not too far-fetched to think that there's a version of me that is indeed a woman.
Yeah. Like the BBC just came out with a video/article on this trans dude who's... I think he's Iraqi.
That's weird.
He's transgender or both or something, and he's Muslim. Like he doesn't I don't know if he really understands Islam ultimately.
I don't think anyone understands Islam.
I guess Muhammad did. He made it up.
I mean, he wrote the thing.
He made it up, yeah.
He's like, to me, Muhammad is the same as L. Ron Hubbard of the Scientology. You just make up a religion for tax evasion, and people give you shit.
Don't talk about LRH, dude.
Oh, shit. Scientologists.
Don't talk about LRH.
Should I give my address out so they can come find me? Because I'm not afraid.
Well, this isn't an episode on my chihuahua barking. Shut up, Lisa!
I feel like you need to record that one. Shut up, Lisa.
Just kidding.
Shut up, Lisa.
Shut up, Lisa. Yeah. I don't have those buttons yet, obviously. It's
we are getting off topic from...
Yeah. We're going to be talking about...
Religion's a whole other...
Yeah. That's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. We'll probably have to take a lot longer than an episode for religion.
It'll just a series.
Yeah.
But...
almost like a podcast, maybe?
Yeah, one religion for every episode. Just stick to one religion. But no.
That'd be.
So Yeezy or Yee or whatever. I think it's Yee. Y-E is Yee.
Yee.
The last two things was first name. Okay. Well, he went to the White House, and everybody knows he went to visit Trump, and he's wearing his not worn much "Make America Great Again" hat. It's like he doesn't know whether he needs to twist the
curve
brim,
it out, yeah.
curve it, or flatten it.
I think Kanye's in a unique position though, because he recognizes he has to cater to both sides. Kind of like, I think he sees himself as a unifying force in a sense.
Yeah,
because he does have the capability to merge two social groups right now.
he does.
And I think he's recognized his position.
What's bad is the fact that the media, the black community in America, they kind of like trash Kanye for supporting Trump, which
doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. What just happened to Taylor Swift? She is now Taylor Swift is being praised right now because she came out. She came out in.
She wrote another song about her boyfriend that she cheated on.
No, she came out in support. The first time she's gotten political in any of her tweets or whatever, she came out in support of the Democratic candidate for senator here in Tennessee. It's between Blackburn and a dude. And the dude is used to be the governor of Tennessee, and he's a Democrat, but he's a Democrat. Like back before the 2016 election, there was a lot that Republicans and Democrats actually agreed on, and overlapped. And now, if you look at the
right, it becomes so polarized.
Yeah, it's so split. It's ridiculous. So back then, there was a lot that that he, as a governor, was doing that the Republicans liked, and he was a well liked governor that I've heard from my wife, because I didn't live here at the time, I don't think, or at least when I did, I didn't give a crap.
So I think we should get away from the whole party system. I think it's a detriment to America having to go through a party before you can become a candidate. I mean, especially coming from our community, where you're based on your merits.
Yeah,
not what your party affiliation is.
I think it's more so the money train is why the party system is that. Because I mean, that's the only reason why Rand Paul
was able to.
He went on the Republican ticket, and his dad tried to get the Republican ticket before that. Yeah, there's a Libertarian part, but it's kind of like a.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Because I threw away my vote, I guess, for Gary Johnson.
Same here.
Because.
But you know what?
When they asked him about Aleppo, and he had the most perfect response of any politician, because he just said, "What's Aleppo?" And everyone was like, "How do you not know what Aleppo is?" Like, no, that's perfect, because he just admitted he didn't know something, and he wanted more information on it, and then everyone chose to belittle the guy.
Yeah.
And like, that's what you want in a candidate. When you ask him something, they're like, "Well, what's that?" That means he's generally interested and open-minded. Why would you not want somebody like that leading the country?
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't like about Trump is he just puts out these generalizations like, oh, it's very good.
He's got the blanket statements to cover his. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, no,
like he even does it here when he's talking about Jim Brown, and like, oh, he's fantastic.
He's an amazing person.
Yeah, amazing, super amazing. And it's like, oh, dude,
how's my makeup? Yeah, do I still look good?
Well, like most of this, it's not even. Well, Jim Brown says like maybe 5 words the whole time.
He's quiet to this thing.
And Trump is kind of quiet. He corrects Kanye one time, but it's mostly Kanye, and all the questions are actually directed toward Kanye.
The thing I like about Kanye too is even the apparel he chose. Like, he's dressed down in a sense. Yeah. Which is, I guess to me, it says that he's being real right now, and he's taking the moment seriously.
Yeah, he's being respectful of the position where he's at right now in the Oval Office. That's true. He's not wearing
any crazy stuff, Nothing there's wrong with expressing yourself as fashion is, but to me, when you show up in a button-up shirt and slacks, it says that I'm here for business.
Well, I mean, it's just like going to church, If you have any respect for
you at least
church,
wear something clean.
Yeah, you're gonna go looking respectable, Yeah. So he wears church clothes. Probably not.
His Sunday best.
Yeah. But I mean, the media and people that are against Kanye West, I mean, he said a lot of stuff, and he went over a lot of topics he didn't complete his thought process through.
Yeah, he did a
each,
shotgun blast.
Yeah, like he would start it, get halfway through, and then boom, next subject. And I mean, he starts off right in the beginning here. Here, let's start. See what it. Where is it? Oh,
Go to the tape.
You know, people expect that if you're black, you have to be Democrat. I've had conversations that basically said that welfare is the reason why a lot of black people end up being Democrat. They say, you know, first of all, it's a limit to amount of jobs.
Yeah, see what I'm saying about the brim? Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't know whether he needs to curve it or keep it flat, and it's not a
And
really.
it's not even straight on either. It's
Yeah,
he's doing the hip hop thing.
he just threw it on. You
Yeah.
know, so. But I mean, he's making a statement with it, so it doesn't really matter.
It's true. He is making a statement.
The fathers lose the jobs and they say, we'll give you more money for having more kids in your home. And then we got rid of the mental health institutes in the 80s and the 90s, and the prison rates just shot up. And now you have Chirac, what people call Chirac, which is actually our murder rate is going down by 20%.
That's an epic point right there.
Yeah, but what's funny, what he said there is he started talking about how the reason why black people need to be Democrats is because of the welfare system or whatever. Mm-hmm. And what was it? Let's go back. I hate my brain. Sorry.
You should probably put on the little CC thing so we can
a limit to amount of jobs. I've had conversations that basically said that welfare is the reason why a lot of black people end up being Democrat. They say, you know, first of all, it's a limit to amount of jobs. So the fathers lose the jobs and they say, we'll give you more money for having more kids in your home. And
see, that's what it was. The fact that in the 60s under Johnson, they pretty much ramped up the welfare state system. Yep. And they went around, and my dad even remembers this, people coming and knocking on doors and saying, hey, you know, you can get on welfare if you need assistance to, you know, live. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he said, you know, if you have more kids, you get more benefit is true. But then they also said, you know, if the man is not a part of the household,
if you become married to the welfare system, it's more lucrative.
Yeah, you get more money.
Yeah.
And I think that's the...
And he's also saying here is that with the removal of the man, because with the welfare state, the women are married to the government, the man ends up in the prison system because where is he going to go?
Yeah.
Because the woman is receiving all the benefits. You know, he's paying out child support. Yeah. She's getting money from the government. And so anything that he's trying to make is he's automatically in debt. So it puts him back against the wall, desperate, and then he makes a mistake and commits a crime.
And then that's where the whole 13th Amendment thing comes into play, because he's not saying abolish the 13th Amendment so we can have slavery again. He means the stipulation within the 13th Amendment where you can still be a slave if you commit crimes, if you go to prison. So that's what he wants to end.
Because the prisoners are paid
very little.
Pennies, nickels, whatever.
And he goes into it a little bit here in the thing, but let's continue with what he says.
We got rid of the mental health institutes in the 80s and the 90s, and the prison rates just shot up. And now you have Chirac, what people call Chirac, which is actually our murder rate is going down by 20% every year. I just talked to the superintendent, met with Michael Sachs, that's Rom's right-hand man. So I think it's the bravery that helps you beat this game called life. You know, they tried to scare me to not wear this hat. My own friends, but this hat, it gives me power in a way. You know, my dad and my mom separated, so I didn't have a lot of male energy in my home. And also, I'm married to a family that, you know.
That's good.
Yeah, he's had to tiptoe around that, sure.
Well, I mean, that family, now that Caitlin's no longer Bruce.
Yeah.
Not a lot of male energy. But, I mean,
I don't know.
Caitlin's pretty conservative. So I think that they get together quite often and talk.
I'm sure they do. My uncle, he's openly gay.
Yeah.
And he's a Trump supporter, and like more of a Trump supporter than I am. And I was like, what? Like, it blew my mind a little bit because, you know, unfortunately, I fell victim to the whole you have to put people into a box just because we were conditioned that way for so long that I never really considered that he would be a conservative. And it's funny because all his friends who are also openly gay, they all are huge conservatives.
Yeah.
And one of the things that stuck out to me was he says, you know, I don't understand why they stick us in the same box with the transvestites and the questionables, whatever they want to call themselves.
Completely.
Because he says him as a gay man, he doesn't understand what a transvestite's going through. So why are they the same?
Yeah.
I was like, I agree. You know?
Yeah. Let's continue.
Not a lot of male energy going on. It's beautiful though. But there's times where, it's something about, I love Hillary. I love everyone, right? But the campaign, I'm with her, just didn't make me feel as a guy that didn't get to see my dad all the time, like a guy that could play catch with his son. It was something about when I put this hat on, it made me feel like Superman. You made a Superman. That's my favorite superhero. And you made a Superman cape for me also as a guy that looks up to you, looks up to Ralph Lauren, looks up to American industry guys, non-political.
See, he went straight from that thought about, this hat making him feel better about himself to talking about industry,
Right.
He's not completing his thoughts.
I mean, for me, a hat's not going to make me feel like a Superman, maybe a combat helmet. But
maybe the
I think what he's probably saying more so is the whole statement of making America great is what made him feel super, because
the movement behind
right,
it.
it's a movement. If like we were in the Army and you put on the PT T-shirt that said Army, you felt like part of an organization, and I think that's what he's getting at with you put it on and you feel like now I am part of Trump. I think that's what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
No bullshit. Put the beep on it, however you want to do it, 5 seconds delay, and just goes in and gets it done. Right now, you gave me the heart to go to Adidas because at Adidas,
We'll be right back.
2015, we were a $14 billion company losing $2 billion a year. Now we have a $38 billion market cap. It's called the Yeezy effect. And I went to Casper. We had a meeting in Chicago. And I said, you have to bring manufacturing onshore, not even shore, into the core. It's not about the borders, the core of Adidas. And Chicago is the core of Middle America. We have to make Middle America strong. So I had the balls, because I had enough balls to put on this hat. I mean, this Adidas thing made me a billionaire. And I could have lost $200 million walking away from that deal. But even with that, I knew it was more important for me to take the chance of walking away from that deal than to have no fathers in Chicago with no homes. And when we do have prison reformation, because it's habilitation, not rehabilitation, because we didn't have the abilities in the first place.
See, that's a good point he makes with the whole manufacturing. Putting up that. I'm sorry, the dog's nails kind of like took the thoughts right out of my head.
I was waiting for you to finish your thought, and I thought you were just pausing to wait for the dog to stop.
No, the dog completely messed my brain
just
up.
Start again, I guess.
Well, no, like like his thoughts on like taking that risk of.
Well, that solves one dog problem.
And are we back?
Freedom.
350. I just saw my penis muzzle break up there.
That was a great get, man. I'm super jelly I didn't get one.
I think it's a one-off, man.
It might be.
Yeah. But, all right, let's try and get through the rest of this Kanye thing.
Yeah, he was talking about bringing jobs back into Middle America, which I think is good overall for America.
I like the fact that he said that because of Trump, he gave him the balls to approach about that. Hey, you guys need to do this or I'm out.
Right.
Says a lot.
I think though in the next few years we're going to face problems with like automation and technology, because I think we'll have a lot more people out of work in the future. But in the meantime, bringing manufacturing back is good to strengthen America.
We will have a lot of people out of work, but that's only because people aren't going like. When we were growing up, they put the whole focus on college. So you got all these college graduates out there doing.
Do you want fries with that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like, are you serious? Or you're a manager at McDonald's? Like, come on. And they kind of like look down on the whole.
I don't know why people
STEM
look
fields or whatever.
Why do they look down on that?
Because
it's weird.
They want that. What is it? White collar. They want that white collar.
I'm not really sure between the colors.
White collar's like,
Blue collar's what, factory, right?
Yeah.
And white collar's...
Blue collar's like working with your hands, your
Yeah.
body. I mean, I loved machinist class when I went through.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with trades.
Yeah.
When I was getting out of the Army, I was out processing with a dude who was an HVAC while in the Army. That's what he's going to do now.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's got a great, successful business because,
Makes money.
like, here in Clarksville, there's only, like, what, 2 or 3 AC companies?
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
My neighbor's an AC dude. And I know a lot of AC dudes that, for people in the neighborhood, they'll do it. Like, hey, you want me to fix it? I'll fix it. It'll be cheaper, you know?
Sure. And I'm right here in the neighborhood, so you know where to find me.
Yeah. But let's see what else he has to say about after the manufacturing.
We never had anyone that taught us. We didn't teach us. Exactly. We ain't had no one to taught us, right? So
Nailed it.
It's more important than any specific deal, anything that we bring jobs into America and that we provide a transition with mental health and the American education curriculum that Jim has worked on. Larry Hoover also has a curriculum that he's worked on. We have Montessori curriculums that we worked on. WeWorks has a beautiful curriculum. The Waldorf establishment has a curriculum.
So he has all that in his head.
Meditation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things affecting our mental health that makes us do crazy things that puts us back into that trap door called the 13th Amendment. I did say abolish with the hat on because why would you keep something around that's a trap door? If you're building a floor, the Constitution is the base of our industry, right? Of our country, of our company. Would you build a trap door that if you mess up and you accidentally something happens, you fall and you end up next to the Unabomber? You got to remove all that trap door out of the.
I don't know why he chose to bring up the
Unabomber? I don't understand.
It's pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, if you want to Unabomb, you're going to be turned into a slave, I guess, because of the 13th Amendment. For those that don't know, the 13th Amendment is what abolished slavery, except for the people that commit crimes and go to prisons, like chain gangs and all that stuff. Yeah. And you can get enforced labor. Forced-free labor, I guess.
Forced-free labor, yep.
And back when the 13th was written, I mean, it was a way for them to keep their labor force, but not having them technically slaves.
Right. It's kind of like being a waitress today.
Well, they made certain things that were like, what? They made them illegal for African Americans to actually
be able to read,
be able to do anything. So when they did that, or if they loitered, or if they were doing stuff they shouldn't have because they couldn't get actual jobs, they'd get arrested, thrown in jail, put on a chain gang, and they'd be doing the work. I mean, that's kind of what helped rebuild the South after.
A little bit.
Now,
it certainly wasn't Northern aid because they had starved out even the education system in the entire South. So that way,
yeah.
Because I think after the Civil War, they wanted to prevent a future one. So that's why education is substandard, I guess you could say, in the South as opposed to the North, because they don't want the Southerners to rise up again, almost like a punishment for losing.
Yeah, I could see that, but I never.
Because I think it's weird that like all the top schools are in the North.
Yeah, New England states.
Right, up in the Northeast. Because I don't think there should be no difference for someone going to school in California, Arizona, Montana, right? Everyone in America should have the same base level of education.
Yeah.
Especially today in the modern era, there's no excuse for different curriculums. But I think what Kanye's saying with the different curriculums is that it's important to reach a student on a
because not everyone's
individual,
the same.
Right, on an individual level. And that's one of the things I learned, especially being an NCO in the Army and then my last job, teaching people about the helicopter, was you can't do the same thing and expect the students to understand.
Yeah.
Each one is different.
Yeah. Except for when you yell at them.
Well, that's kind of universal.
Yeah.
In a military setting, I think if you apply that outside the military, it doesn't work.
Oh, dude, if I tried,
because
I wish I could take the kids that I went to college with. I wish I could take them back in time with me, and
show them,
put them in uniform, and just show them, and then they'd be like, "Oh." I
think the volunteer force is good here in America. I think it's it's the only. I think it's like one of the only countries that doesn't have mandatory service, if not the only one. I think we should implement mandatory service for 2 years.
Yeah.
Not like a combat arms, right? But
Yeah.
give a lot of these young fuck faces
some type of a support.
Yeah, they need purpose, they need
Structure.
motivation, they need structure, discipline, and once you get that, because a lot of people like to compare like some of the Baltic states, they're all in the military at one point in their life.
Yeah.
They're all mandatory service.
Oh, the socialist countries that aren't really socialist, they just have a lot of social programs.
They have social programs, right? But they're not really socialist, right? They point to those, especially while I'm going to college right now. They're pointing to those as like, oh, the example states. Well, they're all mandatory service.
Yeah.
And they all have better understandings of our own laws here in America than we do, which I think is interesting.
They come over to America and they have a higher standard of living than even we do. It's kind of like the Asians, which is weird that Asians, they're people of color, even though demographically they're pretty
the people of
pretty
color,
well-to-do.
People of color is funny to me because
it's just colored people backwards.
I turn blue, I turn green, I turn red. If anything, I'm the colored guy. I'm sorry. I hate to be a stereotyper, but I've never seen a black guy with a sunburn.
It can happen.
I'm sure because it's still skin.
Yeah.
But I think visually I wouldn't be able to recognize somebody who's sunburned because if they were darker complexion, I wouldn't be able to tell.
I remember when I was a kid, I didn't know that my dad could get a suntan until he took off his watch. I'm like, whoa.
Right.
You got a tan. He's like, yeah, we could tan too. I'm like, I didn't know.
Shit. You have melatonin in your skin as well?
Yeah. All right. After that,
sidebar. We got distracted, but jobs.
Jobs, Kanye, Yeezy.
The four gentlemen that wrote the 13th Amendment, and I think the way the universe works, it's perfect. We don't have 13 floors, do we?
I know the whole 13th floor in a hotel.
It's talking about superstitions,
yeah. I don't know where he was going with that, with the whole 13th floor, 13th Amendment type of thing, but that's one of the sound bites that I saw running around yesterday when this came out, was him doing it like, huh? It's kind of stupid. Therefore, everything he's saying is stupid.
Well, what's the golden ratio?
Yeah. Well,
not 13.
Yeah.
It's the way it works. Huh?
The four gentlemen that wrote the 13th Amendment didn't look like the people they were amending. Also, at that point, it was illegal for blacks to read or African.
See, here's where he gets into that whole 13th Amendment.
Americans to read. And so that meant if you actually read the amendment, you get locked up and turned to a slave. Again, so what I think is we don't need sentences, we need pardons. We need to talk to people.
See, certain nonviolent crimes, yeah.
That's going to get into the whole drug debate too, because my opinion is weed is not a problem.
No, it's not.
Alcohol is a problem to me.
Yes, it is.
Right? If we look at what the substances do to people, I don't know of anybody who got high off of weed and felt the urge to go fight somebody.
Or, they do happen to DWIs or...
Sure. Well, you're still driving under the influence. That should be a thing because you are putting people at risk, right? But from my experience, the people that I know who have done it, they never got off the couch. When there's alcohol involved, right?
The one time I did it, I was stuck for one day.
I got couch locked the first time I did it.
I was locked one day, and then the next day...
And then I took a nap, and I woke up and ate 4 bags of chips.
No, I woke up, and wasn't really hungry. I just woke up, and I was just gone the whole second day. And this is only off of 4 puffs of one joint.
Right.
And then the third day, I was high, but I was able to still go to school. But I was in the machinist school at the time.
My opinion is it's benign.
Yeah.
So if we want to talk about problems, there's a lot of people in the prison system right now who are caught on what I would call bullshit charges now of marijuana, right? There might be a little difference with the harder drugs, cocaine and heroin and all that. I haven't done those.
See,
but I don't know if I should be at liberty to speak on those because I haven't done them.
I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I was connected with a neuropsychologist that works with the athletes in the NBA and the NFL. And he looked at my brain. It's equal on 3 parts. I'm going to go ahead drop some bombs for you. 98 percentile IQ test. I had a 75 percentile of all human beings, but it was counting 8 numbers backwards after it was repeated. So I'm going to work on that one.
Yeah, math can be hard sometimes.
Tesla, Freud. You know,
He's on Tesla and Freud's level.
He said,
Get on my level,
that I actually wasn't bipolar. I had sleep deprivation, which could cause dementia 10 to 20 years from now, where I wouldn't even remember my son's name. So all this power that I got, and I'm taking my son to the Sox game and all that, I wouldn't be able to remember his name from a misdiagnosis. And what we need is, we can empower the pharmaceuticals and make more money. That's one thing. I've never stepped into a situation where I didn't make people more money. So we can empower pharmaceuticals. We can empower our industries.
See, with that empowering pharmaceuticals, I think they already have too much power.
I agree. I was about to say that I think part of the reason that we are meeting resistance on things like marijuana is because of these pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
Now, I think science has answers for a lot of things,
Dude.
but nature's already synthesized a good answer for a lot of things, so why not explore that?
Like, for me, I was on a lot of medication, right?
Yes, I am too.
Yeah, and I was on a lot of gabapentin. What's the actual? That's not the
Neurotin, yeah.
Neurotin or gabapentin, right? Same thing. I was on a lot of that. I was on a lot of morphine, right? Morphine sulfate. My wife decided to do the essential oils thing, and she would do me up concoctions or whatever, put them in a little pill capsule, give them to me, and that, like the essential oil things that she would make me, and the CBD oil.
CBDs are amazing.
The CBD oil, I was able to like cut my meds down to like hardly anything. I hardly take anything now.
Right.
Like, I tried to go off completely, but I don't know. I couldn't.
See, my problem with a lot of the drugs is like, in my case, a lot of the drugs that they prescribe me are meant for something else.
Yeah.
And so
well,
I think
they find uses for everything.
Right. And how do we know that by me taking these pills, I'm not going to end up with what they were intended for, or a different ailment because of that?
You know, the fentanyl lollipops that we had in the flight vests? They were giving them out to people when they first came out. They were just giving them out to people that had, chronic pain.
That's true.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Those things, fentanyl is crazy. That's super morphine, dude.
Hey, it worked, didn't it?
Well, yeah.
Well, it's the same thing they would and they're still doing this today, over-prescribing ibuprofen.
Yeah.
We used to call it Ranger candy. So you take your Ranger candy, drink water, and go back on the mission, but you would have pain. But I developed an ulcer from taking too much Profen.
Yeah, I didn't. I've never really taken a lot of medicine until after, obviously.
Well, yeah.
And all that stuff. But let's get back to Yeezy.
He needs to cut his nails.
I need to cut mine too. But it sucks. I can't cut my own nails.
How can you not cut your own nails? You have teeth. That's gross.
I can.
That's gross.
No. Well, no, I can. I can put the
clippers in your mouth.
But I've done that before.
That sounds like it would hurt though.
If they slip off my teeth, which is really easy, they in my mouth and I'm like, oh god.
And then you got nasty.
You know what really sounded nasty when I said doing in my mouth.
Yeah. Phrasing.
Yeah, I gotta watch what I say.
We do, because whatever you put on the internet now is set in stone.
Set in stone.
It's irreversible. It can never be unseen.
Let's get back to this.
We can bring not only Adidas on shore, we could bring Foxconn to set up a factory in, I think, Minnesota. 53,000. Yeah, Wisconsin. They have 4,000 jobs. People making $53,000 a year.
They have cheese curds.
One of the things we got to set is Ford to have the highest design, the dopest cars, the most amazing. I don't really say dope. I don't say negative words and try to flip them. We just say positive, lovely, divine, universal words. So the flyest, freshest, most amazing car. And what we want to
you recognized that he was losing the room.
A gift with me right here.
See, with this, when he goes with this whole showing this little this plane. Like, I think it's like a personal plane, and he's saying that it should be Air Force One. Yeah, that looks like a personal plane.
I mean, but still, well, I think he's talking about the technology because
Yeah.
he makes a point because it's the hydrogen powered, and I think, what happened from World War II is we developed the atomic age,
Yeah.
and NASA I think has atomic engines for rockets, right? How come we don't have nuclear powered cars? Because I think today's technology we can definitely shrink it down,
We could shrink it down, but
and it's
To have a-
definitely safer in the long run, at least in the environment's sake.
yeah.
So if we automate cars and we make them nuclear powered, so you remove human error for the most part, and then we have them last a lot longer and burn cleaner energy.
I say that we just go back to Tesla's idea and all have slot cars. Because he wanted to, all you needed was an antenna and a ground. After he electrified the ionosphere or something like that with
He
Wardenclyffe.
ionosified.
Because Wardenclyffe was a huge Tesla coil.
Yep.
And he was doing... Anyways, that's a whole...
That's a whole other topic. We
Yeah.
can get into the whole like how Egyptians had electricity, and
yeah.
that's a whole other thing.
I swear to God. And we're back.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
Disregard.
And we're back? Question? No?
Nope.
Question mark?
Yep.
We might be back. Let's continue with Trump smiling.
Do you think it's a hairpiece he's wearing? Like, let's be
No.
for real for a second. Like,
He has thinning hair.
is that what it is?
Yeah. So he just combs over to make it more fuller.
So my parents had the Trump board game when I was a kid, and it was basically just buy and sell real estate. It's basically another version of Monopoly, right? But it looks like his hair has remained unchanged at least since the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, that nothing says I don't like change, like never changing your hair.
That's yeah.
It's not that I don't like. What I need Saturday Night Live to improve on, or what I need the liberals to improve on is if he don't look good, we don't look good.
That's true.
That's a perfect
That's true.
point.
So serving under Obama, like I didn't vote for Obama.
Neither did I.
No shocker there, right? But he was still my president, and I still carried out the orders of him in the office appointment, blah, 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 whatever. But whenever it came to foreign relations, I never spoke badly about the president,
Yeah.
right? I made America sound amazing because it is an amazing place.
It is.
Right? And we were privileged to be born here. Like, what luck or blessed, however you want to put it. So when it came to a fellow American and we were having a political discussion,
Yeah.
that would be the time that you can start opening up that door.
Yeah.
So we never want to look weak in front of enemies. And like that's one of the things that I think a lot of people don't understand is when they're bashing the president all the time and that's all the news is,
Yeah.
then that makes us look weak and people feel like they can capitalize on that weakness.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't support GWAT.
The only way I supported it was being boots on the ground,
Yeah.
like
I guess I was kind of cocky, like
while we were young men,
yeah.
part of the Call of Duty generation, because I was looking back in time, right?
Well, for me, it was more along the lines of I had done my flying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not flying anymore, and now I'm one of the best mechanics
Right.
that they got.
The world is known. Yeah. But that's the mentality you have to have.
Yeah, I'd rather be there fixing the helicopters, doing
Than
rigs,
not at all.
than having other people that I'm not really
Right.
quite,
Because those are still my friends flying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that logic. But looking back in time, right, what movies did I have growing up? Like anything with Chuck Norris involved. Like he was some sort of police or military guy, right?
No, there was the
Then you had the Tom Berenger sniper movies. Those are so bad now, but like those were like help shaping my mental status, right? And you got Starship Troopers and Saving Private Ryan. When that came out, that solidified, I think, for me, the career path ahead of me. I was always a fan of Black Hawk Down before I joined.
Well, like it was funny when
A Bridge Too Far is another good movie. Any of the John Wayne flicks where he's in World War II or Vietnam. Like, so there was a lot of stuff that shaped us. This whole entire generation, and then our video games. What do we have? We started with Wolfenstein, right? Back in the day, we had Wolfenstein 3D.
Yeah.
That was gangster. We had Doom. We had like the very beginnings of the FPS genre, and that was our generation coming up. Because our parents had they had Atari, they had Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they had the Pong.
Pong. Yeah, they didn't have They didn't have anything to help, I guess, condition.
Yeah, condition.
Because by the time I was in high school, Call of Duty was everywhere. You know, we had Halo and Call of Duty were the two, like, I think, competing games.
When did you graduate?
I graduated in 06. 2006 is what we said.
2006. Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
If only we were a century later, you know?
Yeah.
No, it'd be a millennium. 1,000.
Yeah.
Math.
Words, terms, who cares?
This is our president.
Boom.
He has to be the freshest, the flyest planes,
Hold
the
up.
best factories.
Yeah, I don't.
Hold up. I mean, appearances can be everything, but I'm not saying we need to have him get a queer eye for the straight guy makeover.
No. He doesn't need to be rolling around on,
He doesn't need to be flashing wrist ice or...
Or,
I mean, it would be funny to see Donnie T here with the Mr. T starter kit, you know? That would be pretty funny. Hey, you like this? It's a pinky ring.
Or be empowered. We have to bring jobs into America because our best export is entertainment and ideas. But when we make everything in China and not in America, then we're cheating on our country. And
Not to mention giving China a leg up on
Well, what's the word? Hang on.
spying.
Yes. Because they're able to steal the technology because we send them the plans.
Yeah, aren't they talking about there might be like China might have already like infiltrated the United States completely with some kind of microchip, like microchip?
There was... Well, I don't know if I can talk about that. There was an incident that happened when I was active duty, and it prevented us from having a magazine anywhere near any of our offices or hangars because of something inside the paper.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't know if I can talk about. I don't really know where that line is on that one because
Well,
it was something that happened to us.
If you get a call from S4, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I got a call.
Did you?
Yeah. Pfft, whatever. It's like, dude.
It's not like you're violating the NDAs right now because we're not.
No, I know. And mine was for a picture on Facebook. I'm like, dude, there's no OPSEC violation.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I actually had some of those pictures cleared when I was in because I did everything by the book, and then I realized, well, that's stupid because in the modern age, like there are news articles like, oh, we have pictures of the secretive helicopters. And like, well, fuck, man, they're putting it everywhere.
Well, not even the movies nowadays, dude.
True.
Sicario and
What was that one? There was two movies about Blackhawks in like the DC area. One was it White House Down, and then Olympus Has Fallen was the other one,
Yeah.
right? The exact same plot, exact same characters.
didn't want to have DAP.
Yeah,
daps
one
or
had the
something.
daps in
Yeah.
there, and I had to laugh because they were making steep 90-degree bank angles, and they were going really fucking fast, and they were carrying troops and ammo. Like, someone didn't do homework.
Well, I did see some DAP guys land and retransplant some Rangers that were going the wrong way.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like being able to make those turns.
Yeah, no.
No, there's no way, especially not when you're
Like
heavy.
they landed those
And-
Marines, those Rangers. They like piled in and were like.
There's no reason that those helicopters would be flying below the buildings anyway, because there was no missile threats in that scenario. You know, like it didn't make
Yeah.
sense. It just that ruined the movies for me. Like I couldn't even take it as entertainment value.
Well, a lot of people don't understand it. Don't know. It's just like with the gun guys, with the gun community.
Yeah.
And every time the gun is used, a silencer is like. It's like there's no way. If it was that quiet, I would buy a suppressor for every freaking gun I have. You know.
Yeah, I think people. It's like
Even though
it's
I want a
education.
suppressor for every
It's
gun
just
I have.
it's a muffler.
Yeah.
When you break it down, it is a muffler for a gun. That's it. It's no different than mufflers on a car.
Yep. All right.
we're putting people in positions to have to do illegal things to end up in the cheapest factory ever, the prison system.
That's a true statement.
So he kind of came full circle with a
Yeah.
lot of stuff he was talking about earlier to now. So
I'll tell you what, that was pretty impressive. I hate to say this, Jim.
and
Dude,
one thing-
what kind of chair has he got?
No,
there?
no.
That looks like a crazy chair.
you know what I was just about to talk about that. Not the chair in itself, but the way he always sits.
Yeah.
Trump always sits on the edge of
Edge
a
of the
seat.
yeah.
You know what that is? it lets the person he's meeting with know that he could get up at any time and just be like, F you.
I'm done.
Yep.
Wow. I was gonna talk about the chair. Like that looks like super comfy. Like I guess you'd want a super comfortable chair.
It kind of looks like there's someone, like it's a chair made for someone to sit, like to be concealed inside of.
Yeah.
Like
you
those,
hide in it.
like those chairs for when they have a car that drives itself, but it's
Yeah.
really a guy in a fake chair. Or you see the mesh right where the eyes are.
Want to say something? What do you do after that?
How is his desk so clean?
They cleared it before.
Please.
Where's his computer at? You know? Do you think he has to like do the same shit we did when we were active duty? Like
Oh, here's the training.
every 90 days, do the computer training or whatever. I forgot my password.
I've never seen Jim Brown impressed before. He was impressed. That's true. That statement is amazing. Huh? It's great to have you guys with us. And, we're going to go in. We're going to have some lunch. That was quite something.
See, he's not really saying anything.
Yeah.
Words are coming out of Trump's mouth, but he's not actually.
I think because Kanye's a smart dude and he recognizes the business potential.
He doesn't care about black people, and you've heard some people say that about this president. How do you respond to
Oh,
that?
look at the body language change on Trump there. Did you see that? He crossed his arms and his eyes got extra squinty.
What's
What's
funny
up with that?
is that reporter just asked Kanye about the time when Katrina and you said George Bush, and I like Kanye's response. It's really good.
I think we need to care about all people.
Boom.
And I believe that when I went on to NBC, I was very emotional and I was programmed to think from a victimized mentality, a welfare mentality. I think that with
He was very emotional. It brought up too much emotion in him.
Yeah.
And so I think.
Well, I think at that time too, he was still coming into who he was.
Yeah.
And I think he still catered to that whole, whatever the agenda they were pushing at the time.
All right. Well, my son is calling me again, so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back. And we're back. There wasn't any commercials.
Not yet.
We don't have any sponsors.
We haven't made any yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we should do. I got an idea. An idea. So operator error will return as commercials.
Okay. So yeah. Let's get back to this thing.
with blacks and African Americans, we really get caught up in the idea of racism over the idea of industry. We say if people don't have land, they settle for brands. We want Polo Sport and Obama again. We want a brand more than we want land because we haven't known how it feels to actually have our own land and have ownership of our own blocks. So
That's really good.
But see, I don't know if I fully agree with that because I don't think it's limited to just black people.
Well, it's not. It's not. But who's Nike's number one demographic? The reason why they went with Kaepernick.
True. Right.
Now, also,
but at the same time, I feel that a lot of the industries have taken the black community, and especially we have hip hop to thank for this.
yeah,
They took it and they monetized it.
yeah,
Right. So it doesn't matter if you had two athletes right up for a Nike sponsorship to push their brand. They're going to default to the black guy because he's the cool guy. He's the culture. He's the pop icon now because that's what hip hop did for America, was push the ghetto mentality, not the ghetto mentality, but the ghetto lifestyle, I guess you could say.
yeah.
The way
Inner
Ice Cube,
city.
inner city or whatever. That's how Ice Cube and Snoop have explained it, I think.
Yeah.
When they'd formed, no, it wasn't Snoop, but it was Dre and Ice Cube and Eazy-E and all them for the NWA.
Yeah.
They made that group and they pushed hip hop, and I think that's why they would default to that.
don't have ownership, then it's all about how something looks. It's about the patina. It's not about the soil. It's not about the core. So we focus more on, is somebody wearing something? Did someone disrespect me? So I gotta shoot them? Or the idea of someone being racist. You know, we talk about police murders, which we definitely have to discuss, and we have to bring nobility to the police officers and make them, because police officers are just like us, but there's just this whole hate building, right? And that's a major thing about racial tension. And we also, as black people, we have to take a responsibility for what we're doing. We kill each other more than police officers. And that's not saying that the police officer is not an issue, because they are in a position of power.
See, when he's talking about that, like, I agree with him. Like, everyone's always saying, oh, African Americans are overrepresented in prisons and everything. Okay, well, African Americans are disproportionately in prison.
Yeah.
Because African Americans disproportionately commit more violent crimes than the other races.
You could almost say it was programmed that way into them from back.
That part of the culture too.
Yeah.
I mean, gang life was kind of idolized. I remember growing up
Right,
in
yeah.
the 90s.
The 90s was huge. Bloods
Late
and
80s,
Crips, yeah.
early 90s. I remember my dad, he went back in the military, became an MP, and he moved us away. Like every time he would, like he went back in the military, moved us out of the inner city of Milwaukee, and then he became a sheriff's deputy. Moved us out even further, So he took me away from that element. But when I was a kid, I gravitated toward it. I wanted to be a part of it.
Well, it's because it was cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Right, that's what they were pushing.
The church that I went to was like right smack dab in the middle of it in Milwaukee. Right. I mean, I remember having a guy come in to one of our night services. He was stabbed like 103 times. He was like a big fat dude wearing a white wife beater, and he it looked like someone took a pen.
You've got red on you.
Yeah, and he came in and he collapsed on my aunt. My aunt was a nurse, and she said, "Oh my god!" And I remember seeing a kid get shot in the ass from a drive-by. Right in front of our church. We're playing basketball. We got one of the milk crates.
Yeah. For the hoop.
Yeah, yeah. Up on the
backboard.
No, not the backboard, but the
pole.
Yeah, a light pole or.
Yeah.
We just had it on that, and we're playing basketball. And a kid got shot in drive-by. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I forget the point. Why was I talking about that? I'm sorry.
I feel like we need an instant replay on ourselves.
Yeah.
I was paying attention, but having a TBI sucks.
Yeah, what was he talking about? Let's just go back a little bit.
A position of power.
Oh, the police.
Oh, yeah, the cops, the popo.
Yeah, like, or we talk about the whole disproportionately committed crimes.
Yeah.
Like
That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
And it sucks to be a part of like the gang culture. That's what was
gang culture.
Early 80s and 90s. I wanted to be a part of that, but my dad moved us away, moved us out of that stuff to keep me away from it. And that's also when I was going through my whole, am I going to be white or am I going to be black?
See, that's weird. You shouldn't have had to choose between the two.
No, I shouldn't have. And my parents, they never talked to me about it either. They never pushed me either way. Mm-hmm. And like growing up, I didn't realize that. I just came to conclusion, like my sophomore year of high school of I'm just going to be me. I'm not going to try to, whatever I like. I'm not going to try to cater to one side or the other,
Right.
Sadly, now, a lot of people in the black community, when they hear my thoughts and my side on how I feel on different issues, they feel that I've chosen my white half, or
because you're not part of the hive mind at that point.
Yeah.
And you're not stereotyped, and a lot of people don't like when you break from the stereotype, even though, arguably, since you are mixed, right, you're your own demographic at this point.
But I mean, I've been called coon I don't know how many times, and I mean, Facebook, I think it's its own little monster. Like when you getting into arguments online,
stupid
with not a face to face.
Yeah,
it's always going to end bad.
Sure,
unless
because you can't read tone and context.
You can't read tone and context to a degree unless you use proper grammar.
Right.
If you use proper grammar and use your punctuation correctly.
However, comma.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That kind of stuff Like, and if you know the person, I don't think you should get in an argument with someone you just
You don't know, yeah.
Like, oh, I'm Facebook friends. I never really met him. You know, don't get into an argument, a legitimate argument, not a fighting argument. You know,
Right.
don't get into an argument with them because they're not going to know how you are or what you're like. You know, they're not going to understand the context that you put into it. You know, so it's difficult. But before we get on a little larger...
Yeah, I don't want to go on a Facebook tangent just yet.
But sometimes they're in placement of law enforcement. They need to be law power. It's force versus power. When you shouldn't have to force people to do that. So a lot of times a police officer is sitting there, they're being forced to do this and forced to do that block, and then they force somebody into something and force something. We have to release the love throughout the entire
He sounds
country.
like a little Nicky.
Yeah, I mean, I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
I understand what he's saying, and to a degree, you know, you should like what he's saying, you know. But in this day and age, I don't think we're not ready to just flip a switch and do that. That's not gonna. It's gonna take a long time.
Everything's gradual. It seems like because in the military, everything happened like literally overnight.
Yeah.
A new commander, new policy. Psh, that was it. The law. Boom. Done. No questions asked. In the civilian world, everybody drags their feet. Right. I think he brings up a good point here with the force. You know, if we call it a police service.
Yeah. Well,
right?
That's another thing. The culture of protect and serve turned into enforcement. You know,
right. It turned into legitimately occupy America.
Yeah. The 80s, the war on drugs. That's what shifted, and the LA shootout that happened.
Yeah.
Where those things that it really did a disservice to the population and the police force because they're not really seen as servants yet.
Right. Cops went from having a 6-shooter revolver on his hip, no body armor.
Walking a beat.
Yep.
Walk in the neighborhood. He had the same neighborhood. We knew, or people knew.
And he knew people and people knew him.
Yep.
You know, it was much more of a community. I never experienced that, right? Because that was before my time, but that's what my grandpa and my parents have told me it was.
Yep.
And now motherfuckers look like they're coming straight out of Iraq. And in fact, some of these dudes are coming from Iraq.
Yeah.
And I don't think, there's no disrespect to any police officers who are prior military service. I don't think if you have military service, you should be in a police force.
Because it's
ROEs are
is
completely different.
Yeah.
And I base this off of my own experience because the training that I've been given, I was able to react to fire before I thought about it. And when you put someone like me in that situation, like I will never be a cop because my answer is going to be the military answer, which is shoot first.
Yep.
And I don't think that's going to further detriment the police relations. So cops need to be a de-escalate force, not a answer, right? That's just my opinion of it.
Yeah.
I don't know how we could fix that because we do need jobs for veterans. Maybe a good application for them would be like SWAT. You know, where SWAT is a shoot first mentality, or maybe just like detective type stuff where we get to hunt things.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Opportunities. A lot of times it's just the overall.
I heard
Oh God, what's going on?
From CNN for 16 hours, but I thought even you were not.
It's stupid Facebook and their ads.
Skip it.
Lack of reparations that we, at any given point, we say, oh, this is racist, this is racist, this is racist, this is racist. So we don't have the reparations, but we have the 13th Amendment. We got to open up the whole conversation. So, and that's a move. One of the moves that I love that liberals try to do, the liberal will try to control a black person through the concept of racism because they know that we are very proud, emotional people. So
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's manipulative and it's disingenuous, dishonest, right?
Yeah.
Trying to control somebody based off of a concept.
I said I like Trump to like someone that's liberal, they'll say, oh, but he's racist. You think racism can control me? Oh, that won't stop me. That's an invisible wall.
Mr. West,
I don't think you reject those who say he's racist.
You had one question, we can go to another question. Okay. I answered your question. I don't answer questions in simple sound bites. You are tasting a fine wine. It has multiple notes to it. You better play 4D chess with me. Like
He's going to go home to Kim Kardashian.
Because it ain't that simple. It's complex.
Mr. President,
Look at Trump's smile. Did you see that? That little grin?
What you would like to ask President Trump to do for Chicago? We're here to talk about crime in Chicago.
The thing that the head of the police and Mike Sachs met with me last night at the Soho House about was we feel that stop and frisk does not help the relationships in the city.
It's
It doesn't.
unconstitutional.
It's unconstitutional.
It is 100% unconstitutional.
I'm
sorry.
I know. I agree with you. It's completely 100% unconstitutional, but I get it.
I understand too. You're right. It's
There's a certain posture.
yeah.
There's a certain posture. There's a certain way a person acts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Right.
We've been to the school. We know it.
Pre-incident indicators,
Yeah.
right? Before something happens, I'm going to be alerted to something that doesn't belong, right? Some sort of motion, some sort of antic, right? The guy's
Posturing.
posturing, right? So when that dude does that, that's when you have the problem. But like just because,
But the stop and frisk, that's what they're saying, that the posturing is giving them, what's that? I can't believe I forgot that. The thing you need to be able to search.
the warrant,
No. Like,
probable cause.
probable cause. Yeah.
Yeah.
The posturing could give them probable cause. I kind of get that. I still don't like it because, again, it does seem to racially.
To me, probable
target.
cause, and I'm not a police officer, but this is what I've observed, right? So even if I have committed no crimes and he pulled me over for, let's say, speeding,
Yeah.
all he has to say is, I smell marijuana. There may not be any in the car, right?
Yeah.
It could be completely unfounded, but now he has full authority to search me. And that's a fear that I have as a white man, right? Because unfortunately, there are bad cops out there.
Oh, yeah.
And people always remember the bad egg that goes into the pie mix or the cake mix or however. I'm not a baker.
I think the thin blue line mentality kind of is a detriment to the whole relationship between the public and
True, because the
police
cops are like
Us
it's
versus
us
them.
versus them, and
Yep.
they forget that they're Americans as well. Like
Yep.
you should not go to work every day thinking I'm gonna need to kill. That was a soldier mentality,
I need to back up my brother in blue no matter what.
right? I'm sorry, because when I was active duty, if somebody was fucked up, they got hemmed up from
Oh, yeah.
internal, right?
Oh yeah.
And if police do that more frequently, just like in the military, then I think they'll have a better return on public relations. Because if a cop commits a crime, he gets put on leave, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe he gets fired. Well, because of the police
He
union,
can get another
he just
job.
goes get another police job somewhere else, and he's right back at it doing it again. And that's not an answer, you know?
Yeah.
Here said ask about stop and frisk. That's the number one thing that we're having this conversation about. Another thing is opening up industries, and we've got to get some tax breaks because we're making we got a speed factory in Atlanta, but the shoes are costing us $300, so it's costing us too much to make things. So we need some prototypes here so we can get people back working. So China can't just beat us and Vietnam can't beat us. You got Levi's, the greatest jeans company in the world, making their jeans in Vietnam. So we're going to need to get a few breaks to be able to have some places in my hometown of Chicago and 2.7 million to the 9 million surrounding suburbs where we can create some factories. Now, I think it would be cool for them to be Trump factories because he's a master of industry.
Not while in office though. It's a big conflict.
That's a big
of
no-no, yeah.
interest. Yeah.
But see, I think what Kanye's doing is because he's a smart dude. He's
Yes.
positioning himself maybe for like a partnership down the road. He's playing the long game here,
Oh, he is.
which
He
is smart. And I think that's another reason people are mad is because this is what I experienced in low-income neighborhoods, right? When I was growing up, anytime you start doing good, the
Oh, yeah.
community wants to pull you back. Oh, you think you're better than us? Like, well, I'm trying to leave this life.
Yeah.
The builder. And I think it would be cool to have Yeezy ideation centers, which would be a mix of education that empowers people and gives them modern information. Like sometimes people say, this kid has ADD, this kid has ADD. You don't have ADD, school is boring. It was boring. It's not as exciting as this.
That's
we
true.
have to make it more exciting. We have to mix curriculums. You play basketball while you're doing math. You learn about music while you meditate in the morning. We have to instate.
See, like with this, I understand his thought process. I agree with it, but we're not at the point where we can just we can't make a change like that.
Unfortunately, we can't we can't change overnight.
Yeah, it needs to happen, but
So like
I wouldn't go to. He's making extreme cases, like
Right.
doing math while playing basketball, stuff like that.
that's a shooting drill we do, right?
We
Where
could.
we have a target up and it's got different colors,
Yeah.
shapes, and numbers. That's something that we do as adults. But I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
I think I'm against segregation, but I think the way boys learn and the way girls learn are completely different. Girls
Public
are,
schools are for girls.
right. Men, unfortunately, we learn with hands-on.
Yeah.
And you can tell me a million times how to do something, but I'm not going to learn until I do it myself
Yeah.
or until I fail at something. Then I learn that life lesson. That's just the way we are.
Yeah.
So I think we need to cultivate those different cultures.
But now in this day and age, I mean, this
Well, because
whole
everything
gender,
wants to be co-ed. Well, it's just fine. You want to be co-ed, but
Well,
you
but
still
the-
have to.
What about the gender roles and like every boy isn't a boy and every girl isn't a girl and you can
That's a
be this or
whole-
that or you can be whatever you want.
You can't be whatever you want. You are already pre-programmed. This is my opinion. You're
Yeah.
pre-programmed out the box, right? So when my parents gave birth. Well, my mom gave birth to me, right? I came pre-programmed with a set of passions and desires,
Yeah,
and there's no deviating from that.
I think that there's a binary.
Yeah,
I think you can fall between that binary. Of, you got your effeminate men
sure.
that aren't gay, but they're effeminate,
But I don't think you should call that a different gender because
No,
you're in between.
Exactly.
The two.
It's
You're
like the girls that like to play basketball or
The
like
tomboys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the sports, they like the video games, they like to do whatever. So there's still
nothing wrong with
women.
it.
Exactly.
You don't want to play Barbies? You want to play with GI Joes? There's no big deal there. And it's the same thing for a boy. If he wants to play with Barbies, it's
Well,
not a big deal either.
Usually boys, if they're boys, are gonna strip the Barbie naked and do crazy stuff with the Barbie, and
Maybe, yeah.
GI Joe's gonna have some fun times. But
What I did to my sisters was I put fireworks on them. They played early jihad before I knew what that was.
oh, jihad.
mental health and art programs back into the city. So those are, and also Larry Hoover is an example.
See right there, he didn't have a complete. He switched.
Right, I think in
Like,
his
he was-
head he continued the conversation and then
He finished in his head, and then the
because
next
the
one.
way he started, the next thought was and also like, oh yeah, by the way,
Yeah.
Of a man that was turning his life around. As soon as he tried to turn his life around, they hit him with 6 life sentences. So I believe you say don't tear down the statues? Larry Hoover is a living statue. He's a beacon for us that needs to see his family, that needs to go out and represent. When you have a block
See, I'm gonna need to check up Larry Hoover or whoever he was. I don't know.
I don't know who Larry Hoover is either.
leader on every single block, they can own the block as their own. That's something I learned from Jim Brown from American. We need to put curriculums for people who really came from the streets, not people who are just trying to set us up to go into a work system or prison system that applies to what people are really going through.
I like
which
how he
Jim
said that.
Brown has created.
What about gun violence with all the debate about the Second Amendment going on?
The problem is illegal guns. Illegal guns is the problem, not legal guns. We have the right to bear arms.
Boom.
President Trump has said.
She has no idea what to say now.
Yeah.
Are you guys gonna be discussing that? Do you think you can change his mind?
Yeah, we're gonna discuss. I didn't mean to put you on blast like that, bro. But
Bro.
I'm here.
Bruh. Me and Kanye, we're friends.
He can speak for me anytime he wants.
Yeah.
Great guy. He's a smart cookie.
Smart cookie.
Smart. He gets it.
POTUS
You
book.
guys, Jim Brown, he's been doing this for a long time.
He's a good
Future
guy.
presidential candidate?
Maybe.
Could very well be.
Yeah. That depends.
He said he was going to run in 2020, but now he's saying I'll run after you
And
get
the
your
thing
second
is,
term.
Let's stop worrying about the future. All we really have is today.
Boom.
Now he's going to go.
Boom.
He's going to go into a lot of philosophical stuff right now.
This whole section here with Kanye talking about the today, dude, that spoke to me because there is no tomorrow, there was no past.
When I saw
it's
that,
just today.
when I saw this and he started talking that shit, I'm like, oh, Johnny's going to love that.
dude, this
Over and over and over again, the eternal return, the hero's journey. And Trump is on his hero's journey right now.
I'm a hero.
And he might not have expected to have a crazy motherfucker like Kanye West run.
Said motherfucker in the Oval
in the
Office.
Oval Office.
But
He's probably not the
let's
first one to
believe
say it though.
We are going to make America great. Now the thing is, another thing is, black people have an issue with the word again.
I
And
do agree with this
believe
point here.
My feeling from that is because I'm going to go all the way Sigmund with it because time is a myth. All we have is now,
Time
all we
is
have
a myth.
Today. So the word again, it doesn't hurt us because of the idea of racism and slavery and the different thing. It hurts us because we need to focus on who we are now, today. I believe. So I actually brought some hats in that have a bit of a transition. I'm not trying to put you up there on the spot a little bit. I made a hat that says Make America Great. Just that. But I would love to see at the Super Bowl, Trump wearing the Make America Great hat, Colin wearing the Make America Great.
Except Colin Kaepernick isn't going to make the Super Bowl this year.
Well, no, but he wouldn't do it anyways.
And we can learn how to be
I don't think that Colin Kaepernick would.
That we are, and the loving beings that we are. That we don't have to stick to all traditions. And
So he's talking about each side giving a little and meeting in the middle.
Right.
And I don't see Colin Kaepernick doing that at all.
That's the problem I think that we face as we open dialogue with the opposite side, right? Because people take things personally, and it's like he said earlier that it's us versus them.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be, because so I may have a liberal perspective on one topic, maybe I have a conservative perspective on it, but the two individuals should be able to come together, discuss the sides, and then figure out that common ground. I feel like that's how we grow as people. That's how we grow as a nation.
Yeah.
But right now, everybody's so us versus them, and they, unfortunately, the far left. And I hate labeling them that because, unfortunately, that's the word they have, or the label that they have polarized the nation. So either you hate Trump 100%, or you don't. Like, there's no middle ground. Like,
you can't support anything that
right.
he does, which is so stupid.
You can't have like, oh, I like this policy, but I don't like this policy.
It's like Obama. Like, there's things that I like that he did or tried to do or just tried to do, and there's things that I didn't. Same thing with any.
And it was the same with G-Dub.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was still a kid during Clinton, but
Same
looking
here,
back in time, I can see things that I think were probably good, and time still will tell us as we advance. But well, even though time's an illusion.
Yeah.
We aren't a side. We are one unit. We are one country. We are one moment in history and time.
I like that.
Might have been here before.
I like that.
And the greatest value that people have are other people. And we need to stop working on red and blue. It's like a gang again.
Boom.
Let me ask you this question. You're in the Oval Office. How does it feel to be in the Oval Office?
Oh, it is good energy in this. It's good energy.
It's a great place. Jim, how do you feel?
I feel good. Yeah. I truly feel good. I thank you too.
You're so respected. And what Kanye is doing has been incredible. All over the world they're talking about this. And I have to tell you, I had important meetings today with senators and with everything.
See, now he has to backpedal a little bit and blow up the egos of the senators and congressmen he's supposed to meet with.
Oh, the others were good, right? But this is what they want.
Yeah, this is exactly what the people want right here.
Yeah.
It's my honor, Jim.
It's what the media wanted, but they lambasted like it's.
Nobody like you.
Oh, look at him.
Nobody
Yeah.
like you. No athlete like you.
Did you hear what they said about? And with that, we're gonna take a commercial break because the dog's inside and my son is looking at me like I'm crazy. And for the 8th time, where's that 13?
No 13.
No 13.
No
That's
13.
right.
We go. It's from 12, 14.
Yeah. So I guess that was 14. We're back. So continue.
I guess what do you feel about Stop and Frisk? Are you gonna?
Well, we're gonna look at it. I'm open to everything. Hey, look, I think it's a shame what's happening in Chicago. I'm in Chicago a lot too. I have nice things in Chicago. You know that, right? And I hate to see what's
I have a
happening.
condo.
They're having numbers of people being shot.
Yeah, I drove by Trump Tower last time I went through Chicago
Did you?
to Milwaukee, and I was like, "Oh, there's Trump Tower." I didn't even know.
I went by Trump's Golf down in West Palm a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Totally open.
It's very
They
nice.
have to do. I mean, we all agree they have to do something. That's
Mr.
for sure.
President, is it a law enforcement issue, a legislation?
Well, maybe it's a
legislation?
combination of both. I
That's a
guess
very
it is,
smart
but
answer.
I think it's probably
Yeah.
a combination of both. And it's also a respect issue. They respect this guy, they respect this guy. That's a big thing. Right now,
Well,
they're
so
not
he's saying they would respect Kanye and Jim Brown. Sadly, the black community's kind of
Shunned them.
yeah, just because of their, I guess, support.
No, I'm standing in that spot. I love this guy right here. Let me give this guy a hug right here.
Here comes that "you son of a bitch"
This
moment
guy right here.
from Predator. Have you seen that meme that went around?
And that's from the heart.
Yeah.
It was the when Dutch and Dylan like meet and they do the handshake and they're like trying to flex on each other.
Yeah.
They Photoshop that into
Scene.
this. Yeah.
Already?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. I guess people on the internet have no lives.
And it says, Kanye, you son of a bitch.
Point.
That's from the heart. Special guy. These two are special people. Whether you like
What do you mean,
it
you people?
or you don't like it, special people. And I appreciate it. Jim, Kanye, I appreciate it. So let's go have some lunch.
And then we can really talk. That's the real thing what Trump's trying to say is I don't want to actually openly discuss this stuff because I think Trump is smart enough to know that anything he says will be twisted and scrutinized. So he wants to have the real conversation behind closed doors.
Yeah.
It's probably smart.
I also think that he likes to let people think he's stupid.
I agree. I think G-Dub did the same thing.
I actually think he was not too bright.
I don't know, man. If you can do cocaine and then go fly F-16s in the afternoon, you got to be pretty smart.
All right, so podcast mode is back on, and
Well, it's about to be off.
yeah, it's about to be off, and we're gonna say bye. There's gonna be a lot of topics that we'll discuss, and a lot of people. Hopefully, a lot of people will want to come and get interviewed and talk about stuff.
I don't know if we really should put, I don't know, too much emphasis on that. If people come, they come.
Yeah, I mean,
I think they will.
I've already asked, and a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah," you know, like got a couple companies here in town. Some people I know that run a podcast in my school or in my old school. They seem to be pretty down for it. So
That's cool, man. Yeah, I think it'll be good.